Well, the Astros beat the Angels in Anaheim, and they head home. They get a day off as they face the Phillies coming to town, and King Tuck makes his Houston return. I got Mike Stanton here like always, and we're going to talk about the Astros, the MVPs, what they need to do going forward, and how good can this team really be? Let's start right now.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the bullpen. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. You know where to find me at H-Town Wheelhouse. You know where to find the show. Back to the bullpen on Instagram, Wheelhouse Media Company on YouTube, and just anywhere in the stratosphere. Look for Wheelhouse. Look for H-Town Wheelhouse. And my partner in crime here, Mr. Mike Stanton. Mike, tell us where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, there's only one place. You might be everywhere, but I'm not. And that's going to be on X at Stanton, Mike Stanton 29. And I'm just looking here at all the setup and everything. Why don't you have my X handle or whatever you want to call it underneath my name? What is that?
Oh, that's because you didn't. Well, I
What
put
the
that
heck,
for
man?
me. You haven't done that for you.
Oh, I have to do that? Do
You
I
know
have
what?
to do
I got
everything
it.
around here?
Hey,
What
I
is
got it.
this?
Look at that.
There you
How's that?
go.
See?
Look at him taking
See?
care of his boy.
Yep. I am the executive producer. I am the director.
By the way, if I would have known how to do it, I would have done it, but
It's
no chance.
No.
No chance.
Well, I kind of thought in my mind I could probably put it up there for him, and then you happen to
turn on a couple lights. That's about
just plug and play at this place, right? Plug and play. Yeah, this isn't a technologically advanced apparatus here, or not apparatus. Good Lord, I can't even use.
You're in summer mode, dude. You're in summer mode.
I'm in summer mode, but you know what, Mike? I actually took on a part-time job this summer, and I'm typically I don't work in the summer teacher kind of guy. Like, I want to get my rest, but I was like, hey, I'm going to sit around the house. No one's going to. Well, I mean, I'm getting a paycheck, but I'm not making extra money on that, so I might as well get paid. Go sell hats, talk to kids about sports, talk to fans, meet fans of the show, tell them about Back to the Bullpen, so why not?
Pass out the business cards.
That's right, man. That's right. Got to pay the bills somehow. But you know who's paying the bills this year for the Astros, Mike, are guys like Jeremy Pena, guys like Jake Myers. I mean, Jake Myers' game today, the diving catch, the scoring on an error, getting a sacrifice fly, just doing whatever he had to do in the 2-hole,
Yeah.
Cam Smith
finally moved him up. Finally moved him up. Cam Smith in the 4-hole today. I mean, Joe Espada is getting creative with this lineup, but let's kind of get into this. Who would you say are your early season MVPs for this ball club to this point? Well, how many do I get? I mean, you got to give me some ground rules.
Can I give you 3, or is that too many?
I'm good with 3.
Okay, let's go 3.
Well, I mean, you already said one of them, Jeremy Pena, both defensively and offensively. He's been one of the best in the American League. I think he definitely needs to be there. He's probably not number 1, though. I think number 1 is probably Hunter Brown. He has been everything that the Astros could ask for and more. This dude has been one of the best in the league for well over a year now. There's been just one start that that was kind of a hiccup. Everything else, he has been absolute sheer domination. I think you have to put Josh Hader in there. Josh Hader doesn't just have great numbers. He's also been perfect in save situations. Honorable mention. I'm going to put, even though he gave up a run today, I'm going to put Brian King over Brian Abreu. Okay, because Abreu, listen, he's got great numbers, but there are some serious Houdiniacs for Abreu. He has, he's got the big swing and miss, and it bails him out a lot of times. But, Brian King has been a guy that listen, you take out one big game that I think he gave up 5 earned runs.
Right.
His ERA is right down there with Abreu and with Hader. So I think those are the guys that you look at and you would say are probably doing the most. You also can give an honorable mention to Fromber. Fromber has been very good. He hasn't been as good as Hunter, but he has been very good also. And then if you want to just give more like a team MVP stat, I think it's got to be pitching staff as a whole. Because they have done a really nice job of just taking care of business. I mean, we were just looking. The Astros now are with the win today. They're 30-7 when scoring 4 runs or more. That means they still have over half their games that they are not scoring 3 runs. Now, the crazy thing is they have 15 wins when they've scored 3 runs or fewer. That is a huge number at the end of the season, much less, here in June.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you take 10 of those 15 wins away, or even 8, you're not even in first place. And, say what you want about Seattle. I don't know if you've seen what, why did I just blank on his name? Cal Riley is doing. He hit his 31st home run today. I mean, if you remember a few years ago, Salvador Perez for the Royals, went off. But Cal Riley, I think, almost single-handedly is keeping that team afloat because they've dealt with pitcher injuries. But back on the Astros, this team, where they were last year compared where they are this year. I had Will Kunkel on Houston Sports Download this last week, and he said, don't you think that Joe Espada is looking like one of the favorites for manager of the year? I mean, with the amount of adversity that he's had to put up with and no end in sight with Jordan coming back. I mean, we have heard he can't even pick up a bat. You've got guys like minor league pitchers, AAA guys coming in and simply getting the job done. And sometimes, Mike, it's not about being the most dominant team. It's about playing team ball. And going to Brian King specifically, I believe, I forget how many he had inherited, like 15 or 16 runners in a row without allowing them to score.
Crazy.
And you being you being a relief pitcher for your career, and those are the situations that they talk about, the stressful innings. Those are the stressful innings. You get a guy that's on second, you got one out, you got the top of their lineup coming up. I mean, you have to stay within yourself. He is very mentally tough, and he's got the stuff too.
Well, the thing is that's one of the stats. ERA for a reliever doesn't really hold a whole lot of water. WHIP, all that kind of stuff. Okay, they're stats. They mean something. But as a player, that's one of the things that I really wanted to kind of focus on. That was one of the things I paid attention to, which was inherited runners to inherited runners scored. Ultimately, that is the job of a reliever, is to get someone else out of trouble.
Right.
Roger Clemens years ago, when we were at Boston, once he left Boston, we played together in New York in the late 90s. He actually said, if I had this bullpen, I would have won 300 a long time ago. He did the bullpen that he was pitching in front of back in the day in the 80s and 90s in Boston. We'll just say, really wasn't that good. Blew a lot of leads. He used to say that, he would go to walk upstairs, and before he would hit the first step, there was already screaming because they had already given up the runs.
Wow.
The inherited runs. Slight exaggeration, but this pitching staff as a whole has just done a great job. And Brian King, I think, has been definitely one of the unsung heroes. And you're right. You look at what the Astros have done. You look at, coming out of spring training. They played okay in spring training, about what you want to do. You want to play about 500. You don't want to lose them all. You don't want to win them all either. But we thought that this roster was going to be a little short offensively. Well, it has been. But I don't think we expected this pitching staff to be this good. We thought they would be okay, but and we expected Hunter Brown to be good. But he picked up basically right where he left off last year and is just running with it. And he's leading the whole staff. It's been really fun to watch. But what's the old saying? Greater than the sum of the parts. That's what you have here, because if you look how this team has played and you kind of look at the rosters and the batting averages and stuff like that, you kind of scratch your head and wonder how they're doing it. Bottom line is they're doing it, and that's all that counts.
It is. And Hunter Brown is, to me, gosh, he just got that dog in him, and he showed that against the Angels. Zach Neto, and look, I've never been hit by a 95-mile-an-hour sinker, okay? So I can imagine just getting hit is annoying in itself.
Oh, it does.
Now,
it is.
I looked into it. Neto got hit like 14 times last year. I think he's been hit 3 or 4 times this year already. He crowds the plate, okay? So truth be known, he crowds the plate. When that ball hit him, he was swinging. So I think he was expecting that ball to go in, but Hunter Brown throws high and inside. You throw high and inside, you're probably going to get brushed off, whether it's intentional or not. That's the scouting report. And he got upset. And then, of course, Hunter Brown's not going to back down. No. He's like, what the F are you talking about?
Right.
And then Christian Moore, who's the Angels' #1 prospect, 24 at bats, gets in Hunter Brown's face. And I'm like, hold on, Rook, you don't have a dog in this fight.
That is
like, that's not where you're supposed to be going.
It's a different era, though. It's a different era.
That's true.
It's the look at me era, but yeah, that was, and you know what, as an Astros fan, you look at that and you go, what in the wide world of sports is a young guy doing in Hunter Brown's face?
Right.
The great thing for the Angels is, they're like, man, look at that young dude sticking up for the team.
Well, that's
what all that 100%. Means. But yeah, Hunter said something with some choice words involved, you're standing right on top of the plate or whatever. But hey, Hunter sometimes does have arm side run. And if you're going to be on top of the plate and you're not going to get it out of the way, well, guess what? You're going to have to use some ice because there's going to be a bruise.
That's right. And back in the day, if it was Nolan Ryan and you were digging in, he made sure you didn't dig in too far because he didn't let you get comfortable at all.
Actually, you said, we'll go back to my boy Clemens was the same way. And I'll tell you, probably the happiest guy on the Yankees when they made that move and brought over Roger Clemens and put him on the Yankees. I think it was 99. Mm-hmm. Was Derek Jeter. Because Derek Jeter ended up on his butt just about every game Clemens started.
Wow.
And they never had words or anything like that. And, probably some of them were on purpose. A lot of them weren't. Roger was a lot like Hunter. The ball has that arm side run. He gets under the ball a little bit, pushes it up. And, Jeter kind of dove at the ball, trying to hit the ball the opposite field. But, yeah, he ended up on his rear end quite often.
Exactly. And those are some aspects of the game that I do miss, and I'm not saying I like a guy to go head hunting, right. hit him in the meat, hit him in the thighs, plant one in his back or, shoot in the rib cage if you're Lenny Dykstra from Nolan Ryan. But someone even mentioned the Nolan Ryan, Robin Ventura game. To this day, I still ask myself, what was Robin Ventura thinking?
To this day, Robin Ventura is asking himself what he was thinking. Actually, to tell you the truth, the only reason he went out, and I heard it, I played with Robin. Robin, great guy.
Right.
The driest of sense of humors, extremely intelligent. And, I'm sure he gets nauseated because he still has to talk about it. He was a great hitter. Very, very good third baseman. This dude was about as legit as you can get, was one of the best in the league for many years when he played. But he said something on the bench to his teammates that if this guy comes up and in, I'm going out there. Well, of course, it's Nolan. He comes up and in, and you can see it on Robin's face when he takes about 2 steps, and you can actually see it on his face. And he's like, what in the hell am I doing? Why am I going? And then he did, even worse. He goes down there and puts his head down, and Nolan gets him in a headlock and throws a couple punches on top of his head. It looked, I don't even know if he really connected with Robin, but it looked cool because he had to do it in the headlock and he's just over there wailing on the top of his head. But yeah, you don't mess with Big Tex, man. You don't go out there. You better get your mind right if you're gonna go out there against Nolan.
That's right. He meant business for sure. So the Astros actually did really good today because they actually had to come from behind 2 different times, Mike.
Twice.
And you and I have talked about, this isn't a team that doesn't depend on the long ball, right, which could be a good or bad thing, down the road. But a lot of runs are scored off the long ball. But when the pitching isn't there, when Ryan Gusto, the numbers look bad. He made that one mistake pitch where he gave up a 2-run homer to add to the runs that he had given up, but he had 7 strikeouts. He didn't have a terrible outing. He just was off, 1 or 2 mistakes, Mike, as a pitcher.
Well, listen, what do you would love to have the guys go out there and shove all the time.
Every time, right.
That's just not realistic, especially for a young guy like Gusto. I mean, you're not, got good stuff, knows what he's doing, but still, being in Major League Baseball, he's still kind of foggy, thinking that I'm a freaking big leaguer. But that's okay because he gets his mind right when he gets in between the white lines. But really, what are you asking for in a situation like that? Yeah, you would love him to go out there and give you 6, give you a quality start, which is 6 innings with 3 runs or fewer. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's just keep me in the game. Don't let it get blown out. Exactly. Here's another crazy stat. Okay. The Astros with the win today and coming from behind, not once, but twice. It only counts as once, though.
Right.
This was their 22nd come from behind win. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Now, we've talked about how great the pitchers have been, and they have been, but it also shows that the offense, they don't score early in the game, and a lot of times the other team will score a run or two, and there's, but you keep them in the ball game. And then, these guys Astros, through this run have always kind of been the cardiac kids. They've always had that flair for the dramatic scoring runs late in the game. And, it was good to see them. I mean, they put 2 crooked numbers up on the board today, 2 4 spots. That's not something they do a whole lot.
You're right.
So yeah, this was, and it was to win another series. So,
I mean, they put 2 4 spots in the same game where we just talked about earlier, how over half their games, they only score 3 runs or less. So, I mean,
tell you the truth, I'd have to go through the box scores, but I don't know if they've scored, 2 4-run innings in the same game this year. If they have, it's only been once or twice.
Yeah. So we have here, Astros need to do this more often. What they need to do is what they did today. If the pitching isn't pinpoint, and that also takes, if they can do that more often, that also takes pressure off the pitchers, because if pitchers game in and game out know that, gosh, if I give up 1 or 2 runs, like, we're not going to win this game, then that puts undue pressure. And then once you get the first time through the lineup, probably doesn't phase them. Second time, if you're trying to go a third time through, but your offense just is not going to come back at any point, that's when I think it's probably more difficult for them. But being in transition to the next thing, that's why I think being in the AL West is the best case scenario for the Astros, because I think you have the Mariners. And actually, Mike, I'm more concerned about the Angels in the long run than I am the Rangers. And I feel kind of weird saying that because I know the Rangers pitching situation, but their offense is terrible this year.
Yeah. I to tell you the truth, I'm not really worried about anyone in this division. The Astros now have a 5-game lead. There's only 2 teams over 500. It's the Astros and the Mariners. The Mariners won today to get 2 games over 500. The Astros just keep taking care of business. I mean, we've been saying this for years that, what are you really trying to do in this situation? The winning streaks are great, but the problem with the streak, they always end. Okay. What you're really looking for is what they've been doing so well for the last couple months, and that's winning series.
That's right.
They're playing much better on the road, which, in years past, they've actually been a much better road team than they have a home team. They've played very well at home. And then now they're only 2 games under 500 on the road. So, they have to be reckoned with when they go, when they get on the plane and go somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, if you're going to get on the plane and go somewhere, you need a back to the bullpen shirt. So and a haircut. You go to Ever Cruise and get your haircut. I mean, dude, I'm letting my hair grow back here. I'm trying.
Oh, he's going for the 90s mullet.
Hey, Mike, I'm literally working on a mullet right now.
Party in the back.
When I get it shaped up, I'm going to come on the show without a hat.
Just leave the hat on. Leave the hat. You can keep the mullet. You can pull it over your shoulder. Get the hair dryer so it fluffs up so everybody can see it. I love you, buddy, but
Mike, golly, man, I'm gonna have to.
Hey, I'm not gonna say why. But
man, see, Mike, this is okay.
I know your mother. I'm gonna have to
ask my therapist for another session this week.
I know she's listening. I know she's watching. I'm gonna have to apologize to your mother.
Oh no! You know what? Honestly, she probably would agree with you. I'll actually see her Tuesday.
She's what? Though, on the other side of that, just run with it. Just go. Just do
Why not? I mean, dude, I turned 50 in August, so I'm trying to have as many midlife crises that don't affect other people as I can. So, but okay, so
just own it. Just own it. I can't wait.
Now, Dana Brown's been talking about getting a left-handed bat. Is Singleton the left-handed bat? I mean, it's just a minor league contract, but another Cuban guy on a minor league deal. I mean,
the thing with Singleton is that you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a quality at bat. He knows the strike zone very well. He's got some big power. He's not going to hit for a high average. If you're looking for just a bat off the bench, I think that we've seen he's got one of the most important walks in Astros history.
Very true.
And it was a good at bat. I mean, it wasn't just 4 straight. So I think that he can help you some. You just know what you're going to get there. I don't know if he's really a difference maker because, well, when has he been?
Right. No, and that's the thing. I mean, he was DFA'd. And again, he's familiar with the culture. He knows the team. And so that's why you bring a guy like this back. It's not like some random player was DFA'd from the Giants or from the Padres and you don't, I mean, if for some reason he's there, that if an injury occurs or something happens,
right,
you can bring him up.
He's going to be solid defensively.
Exactly.
So and listen, you it's not always about upside. A lot of times when you're talking about a bench player or a pinch hitter or something like that, it's more about knowing that he's going to be able to handle the moment. There may be more talented players in the organization than you go, well, why isn't he getting at bats or why isn't he doing that? Well, you want to make sure the young players in the minor leagues continue to get their at bats. And for Singleton, this is just one of those situations that, I mean, he hopes to get back up to the big leagues. And, if he gets a pitch and he gets extended, we know he can drive the ball as far as anyone. So just being comfortable with having him on the roster and knowing what you're going to get if he ever gets here, then that's kind of the right move when you're talking about a bench player.
Yeah, exactly. And
but Dana talking about wanting a left-handed bat, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about in the lineup. He wants somebody.
He means a major league, left-hander, right?
What he needs is Jordan. That's what you need.
Oh, that's true.
You get Jordan back in there, and then all of a sudden you feel much better about it. Wait. A healthy Jordan. There you go.
Well, I wonder if Kevin Durant can bat left-handed. I mean, the Rockets just signed Kevin Durant. I mean, wow.
I heard that.
Time trade.
Yeah.
Man, the Rockets making moves in baseball season.
I remember when Michael Jordan played baseball. That's an awfully long and lanky strike zone.
That'd be a really So Mike, when he was, I guess his first or second year, whenever his first Air Jordans came out, my dad and I actually met him. It was at an Oshman's at Sharpstown Mall, and I'll give you the very abbreviated version. After the show was over, my dad had helped them corral the crowd. The crowd had gotten out of hand, and so they pulled us aside. And Michael Jordan, I remember talking to him, and he asked me, he said, "Brett, what is your favorite sport?" And I was like, oh, crap, I got to tell him basketball is not my favorite sport. I said, because I was, when you address him, you say, Mr. Jordan, don't call him MJ or Michael. I said, well, Mr. Jordan, my favorite sport's baseball. And he goes, mine too. And you know what he said, Mike? And I shit you not. This is what he said. He said, one day I would love to play Major League Baseball.
He wasn't terrible.
No.
I mean, I'll tell you that. And baseball, all of our listeners are at least fans of baseball. Baseball is not a sport you just pick up. Where basketball is an athletic sport. They got to jump and move and dribble and do everything in the jump shot. Baseball is not an overly athletic sport. You don't have to be a tremendous athlete, but it is a sport that takes a lot of repetition, a lot of ground balls, a lot of batting practice, a lot of bullpens. It can be a very difficult mental sport. But Michael Jordan, he did okay, man. He did okay.
But,
and he ran into a couple doubles. I don't know if he hit a homer.
Yeah, but that's what made it impressive when guys like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders were able to do it. I mean,
but they played.
I know, but that's what. Well, but what I'm saying is that's what makes it more impressive what they did because they were professionals in two different sports.
Right. Yeah, I played with Deion. Deion was amazing athlete. Amazing.
What was he like? What was he like in the clubhouse? Was he
guy.
like?
He was a
just
great
cool guy.
He was. He took a page out of Joe Namath. You remember Joe Namath, with the
Broadway Joe.
Yes, with the fur coats and all that kind of stuff. And it was all a persona. It was all just an act.
Right.
And Deion was pretty flamboyant for baseball. But he said baseball is conservative compared to what I am in football. Because football, he was leather coats and the big Gucci sunglasses. But I'll tell you what. I do not think that there was a better cover corner in the NFL ever than Deion Sanders.
Oh,
Deion Sanders neutralized a side of the field.
Oh yeah, no, you didn't throw it to his side of the field, and so that's really cool. I forgot that y'all played at the same time. Maybe
the fastest player I ever saw.
Were you on? Okay, whenever he played for Atlanta.
The World Series? He played two sports in one day?
Yeah, two. Okay. Okay. So that was your jeez. Yeah. Mike, you get more historic every time I talk to you.
The crazy thing is there was the media kind of ran with it. And there was a lot of talk about how he's a bad teammate for doing this. You guys are in the World Series. Dude, we thought it was freaking awesome. We thought that was the coolest thing. The helicopter, the whole bit to get to and from.
That's great.
But the thing was, as far as for the Braves, he wasn't playing. He was a bench player. So it wasn't like he was taking away from anything. We just thought it was the coolest thing freaking ever.
You're like, he's our teammate.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. All right. So we got a big series coming up, and let's kind of wrap things up here. Well, two big series. You got the Phillies who playing some darn good baseball, and you've got the Cubs who Kyle Tucker is leading this team, and they've got Pete Crow Armstrong, who they call PCA. They've got Suzuki. They've got all these guys on their team that are just hitting the ball. And so while Houston's been playing their best ball at home, man, they're playing against some high-scoring offenses.
Yeah, so and the Phillies have been hot. They're winner of 8 of their last 10. They've kind of got it all. They've got a pretty good offense. They've got a rotation that can shut you down. And they're leading the National League East. And then the Cubs are a very good offensive team. They've got their pitching is middle of the road. It's not great, but they are the second. Well, I think it's second highest runs scored in Major League Baseball behind the Yankees, and the second best in run differential behind, who did I say it was?
I believe it was behind the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yes. Yeah. So, so what does all that mean? That means that they're consistent, they're swinging the bat, they're driving in runs. So the Astros pitching is going to have to do their job. But, maybe what we saw today from the offense with them scoring 4 runs in 2 different innings, maybe this can build a little confidence there and they can start scoring a few more runs for the pitching staff.
So with the Phillies, you've got Valdez versus Suarez. Suarez is 6-1 with a 2.2 ERA.
Yeah.
So you've got a pitcher's duel Tuesday night.
Ranger Suarez is filthy too.
And guess what? It doesn't get any easier. Zach Wheeler 7-2 the next night.
I'll tell you what, one of the best contracts that probably has been signed from a big time pitching free agent, because when he signed that contract with the Phillies a few years ago, I was like, what are they doing? Because Zach Wheeler, who always had the tremendous stuff, he had never really been able to stay healthy with the Mets.
Right.
But he put on the red and white pinstripes in the city of brotherly love, and he has been outstanding.
He has been very good.
That is a tough customer. No, he's really not that different than Hunter Brown. You're talking about some high-end velocity power stuff.
They've had some postseasons where you're almost more worried about Zach Wheeler than you are Aaron Nola. He's had a little bit more success.
Well, Aaron Nola is the consummate pitcher. He's moving the ball around, spinning it, doing all that kind of stuff.
See, I remember Nola when he was at LSU. I actually saw those LSU teams play with Bregman and Aaron Nola and, all those guys. But the third game against the Phillies is Hunter Brown versus, I believe it's Carlos Sanchez, who's 6-2. I mean, the Phillies pitching staff. So basically we're throwing our best pitchers. They're throwing their best pitchers. So when the Cubs come to town, we're going to have to depend on the other guys.
Hey, the other guys have done just fine. Guys like Gusto, who pitched today, didn't pitch great, but kept your team in the game. And listen, the offense is going to have to score some runs. This isn't, even with the pitchers that are on the mound that we've just gone over, you still got to scratch a couple runs across to help these guys out. That's
right, man. A lot going on in the Astros world. Mike?
Oh, by the way, not Astros world, baseball world. Congratulations to LSU.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they
sealed the deal. They won yet another College World Series.
Yeah.
And what a team. And, I got to interview Coach Jay Johnson. It was his first year, I believe, in 23 with the Tigers, and just a great guy. Just loved his candor. I was most impressed with him and Vanderbilt's baseball coach. Those guys, it's those college coaches. You've got to have. They're just different people.
Sure.
And a lot of times for all the right reasons. Sam Houston State's coach is phenomenal. They have several. Ryan O'Hearn, Colton Cowser, Walker Yannick. I mean, they've got so many draft picks coming out of there. But yeah, it was cool to see the LSU Tigers win another title.
Yeah.
But
feel bad a little bit for Coastal Carolina, but
the
finals, and that
Well, I mean, who comes in on a 35-game win streak, right? I mean, that was
not in baseball.
That was insane. So Coastal Carolina, though, for their school, that's good for them. Why? Because that brings more players' attention to Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're actually considered. I consider them kind of a mid-major, where LSU is as major as you can get. But for them, I mean, that was a good offensive team, but the pitching staff for LSU just kind of dominated.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We got to make sure we remember that good stuff, man. But hey, Texas has got its own, like the state of Texas, Texas State. We've got University of Texas, A&M. I mean, we've got a lot of really, really good baseball being played. But, Mike, this is another great back to the bullpen session for sure. And I want to tell everybody that's watching, don't go far, because at 10 o'clock in 20 minutes, we'll be doing Houston Sports Download NBA Finals Edition. talking about the Kevin Durant trade. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, gosh, I saw someone post something about Dylan being traded and it almost made me cry. I was like, what are you doing to me? Playing my emotion. I wasn't even that attached to him, but the Rockets world has definitely turned upside down. Heck, Kevin Durant was at the Fanatics live event on stage when they told him, oh, by the way, you've been traded.
Never know when it's going to happen.
That's right. But hey, Mike, thanks for hanging out, man. I know everybody here thank you for the Dion stories. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, Dion.
And like I said, the more you tell me, the more legendary you become. So,
in famous or infamous?
Well, isn't infamous more than famous?
Infamous, yes. According to Dumb and Dumber, which I think you and I can relate to both of those guys.
But am I dumb and you're dumber, or you're dumb and I'm dumber?
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, definitely smash that like button. Make sure tell someone about our channel. Tell them because it is now called Wheelhouse Media Company. We also have Wheelhouse Media Company shorts. And July 10th, we'll be having a ribbon cutting ceremony there in Pearland. I'll be giving y'all more details later on. So thank y'all for tuning in. From myself, from everybody here at Wheelhouse Media Company. Y'all have a good one. And like I say, always positive, always Stros.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat it low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool.